people, today we're doing a fall set. This is for my own nails. I did these, and we're going to start off with a light gray, or say pale gray. My nails have been all prepped. You can still see part of the Halloween stuff that was encapsulated on that one because I just did fills this time. Don't worry about that. You're not going to see that later. But I'm going to do all of them gray except for the ring finger. Now I wanted to do a different kind of fall design this year because I'm kind of tired of the same old orange, brown, red, yellow for fall. So that's why I went with the blue and purple. And yes, I know I just did a blue and purple set like 2 months ago, but this is what I came up with. So that's what we did. And this is going to be on the ring finger. We're going to be doing an ombre with the blue and the purple. Now here I put the blue down the nail a bit farther than I really wanted to, but it's on there, so we went with it. When we do the second coat, I won't put the blue down quite that far. And while this purple is dark, it's a little bit on the sheer side, so blending it with the other, was it different? Okay, I'm going to use my wispy ombre brush for this. Firstly, I just wanted to get the two polishes to be a little bit blendy in the middle. I don't normally do it like that, but it's kind of a little bit easier when I'm working on my own nail. Give myself a little bit of a head start with the blend because you're going to see the awkwardness of working on your own nails when they are attached to you when I'm doing this kind of stuff. But we're just going to flick it back and forth until we get the blend we're looking for. And when you get a little bit too much polish collects on your brush, just wipe it off. Go back and do some more. And we're only going to be doing the ombre on the ring fingers. So I only had to do this twice. Well, actually 4 times if you count the second coat. I think what I was doing here, yeah, I was gonna try to get some of the purple off down from the tip and get it back up to the where they're gonna blend together. And like I said earlier, if I had not gone down so far with the blue, this would have been a lot faster of a deal here. But I got that done, and in there it has been cured now, and now we're going with the second coat. Now most of this video has been sped up to double time because it was really long, getting really long, and I was trying to keep it as short as possible. So most of this stuff is not a big deal. You've seen it a million times. Watching me just do the polish, the second coats and whatnot. And I'm sure you guys all know how to do that, so we don't need to dwell on it too long. There will be a couple of parts that I've left in real time because with some trickier stuff. Okay, now we're going to go in with the second coat for the ombre. And I'm just going to go much shorter than I did with that and more purple. Now the reason I'm using this kind of wispy ombre brush is I found it works a lot better for the horizontal ombres. The other ombre brushes that I have are kind of more squared off ones. They're a lot more stiff, so they don't seem to. You can make errors with them because they're stiff. So you end up taking more off than what you think you're doing. This little wispy one worked really nicely. This is just a really cheapo one that came in a set of shaped brushes that I got off AliExpress not too long ago. Well, I guess it's been several months now, but so, and there was a piece of fluff or something on there. And this important step, don't forget to clean your cuticle areas off after you have done an ombre on yourself, because if you let that cure on there, it's really hard to get it off. Okay, so those have been cured, and we are going to move on to the marbles. Now I'm going to do 2 lines of gray because those other 2 colors are really dark, and I didn't want them taking over the entire marble with this really dark color there. So the amount of marble that I'm going to make here will be enough to do all the 4 nails that we're going to be marbling, and there will still be a little left over, so you don't need to get crazy and make a whole ton of it. And I'm not going to swirl it together. I'm just going to leave it there like that in stripes. And then we were going to put on the blooming gel. Now this is the first time I've used the blooming gel for the marble. Normally I was using base coat. And quite frankly, for this process, I didn't see any difference at all between the blooming gel and the base coat as far as how it dispersed the polish I put on. Okay, here's the normal ombre brush. That's what I'm going to use to put my marble on with. Okay, but first we're going to get the blooming gel on. You don't need a whole lot of this, just a thin coat is fine. It's really thick, so you're going to want to spread it out good and take off any of the excess you can get off, because by the time you have that layer plus the kind of thicker layer of marbled polish, you could get rather bulky. Okay, this part right here obviously is not sped up. I believe when I did the whole marble section, I left it in real time. Okay, now what we're going to do is take the ombre brush, and we're just going to scoop it across this whole row of lines of polish like so. Pick it up, and then you're just going to gently float your brush across the top of that wet blooming gel. You don't really want to brush it, you just want to kind of let the polish slide off as it goes across there very gently. If you brush it too much, your colors are going to get all muddied together and they're not going to look nice. And also make sure you get it all the way to the top of your cuticle edge, which I did not do on that one, nor did I do on the next one that I'm going to show you. So then you'll see in the finished nail, I've got just a thin line around the top of there where it's just a plain gray. I meant to go back in and fix it, and then I forgot, and so then it got done and that. So now it's the way it is. And there's no right way or wrong way to, whichever way to put your marble on there as far as which direction you go. You can go any way you want. You can make them in straight lines. You can make them swooshy. Just however you feel like doing it. I'm just trying to get a little bit in that blank place. Now see, I should have caught that top edge there and pulled that down to there, but I did not. It looks like I was looking at it. Now why didn't I do it? I don't know. I did go back on the tips though and tap some of this on so they're not just the plain gray on the ends. And those will be ready for curing, and they have gone in and that has happened. Okay, now we're moving on to the French tip part. Now this one is going to have a lot of trial and error because I do not have any kind of a set method. I've tried some of the methods I've seen, where you make your dots and draw your lines, and then you blend it around. That for me, that just did not work. I just wasn't getting it any better than. So basically, I just eyeball it. And what I am trying to do is, I'm trying to make my smile lines deeper because I always seem to make them too shallow. So you're going to see a lot of things getting wiped off and redone and cleaned up because smile lines are a bit of an issue for me, and I have it's always just a trial and error until I get it to where I'm fairly happy with the way it looks. So I just wanted you guys to see it's not just a real easy, I can swipe a nice clean line on there and go like I've seen other people do. So it does take some practice, and I don't do them that often either. So I guess, if I did them more often, I'd probably have figured it out better by now. But basically, I'm just trying to get the curve of the smile line to look the way I want and have a fairly clean edge to it. And I'm just using a cleanup brush with some alcohol. Now, after I dip it in the alcohol, I dab it off a little bit on a paper towel because if you have too much alcohol, it tends to kind of dilute your polish, and then it makes your lines all kind of get dispersed a little bit like they do with the blooming gel. So use it sparingly. And once I'm happy with the smile line curve and the cleanliness of it, and now I've just got alcohol on there a little bit. I'm just trying to clean up those little bits and bobs that I can see sticking up there. And once I'm happy with it, I'll just use the bottle brush in the blue polish and finish off the tip. And don't forget to cap the ends. And then when we're totally happy, I'll send that into cure, which we have done. And now we're on to the second coat. Now this goes much faster, and this part I've sped up. You already have where everything's supposed to be, so all you have to do is go around and repaint on top of it. So there's no figuring of stuff out. It's not to say if, like occasionally I have days where my hands are shaky, so sometimes I mess up that part and then I have to clean the inside part out again, but that day it went rather smoothly. Also, you don't want to bulk these up too much, so try to keep this as thin as you can get it. And we're going to cure that again after we have cleaned the inside up. And then we're moving on to the thumbnails, which are going to have the exact same thing, only we're using the purple for these. There's going to be parts of this where I was a bit out of shot. Sorry about that. I tried to cut most of those out, but I did not get them all. Okay, this is the exact same thing. I'll get something that looks halfway like I want it, and then I'll go around and clean that curve, that inside curve out. And make it a little deeper. I don't know why I have such a problem making it a deep curve in the first place, but that just seems to be an issue for me. Now see, now I took too much off. Now we have to put some back on. It's a whole process, guys. I'm really jealous of those techs that can just make a swoop right around there and then this perfectly nicely curved smile line. Maybe someday. And now we're going to clean up the little bits and bobs that are sticking up in there. And eventually we're going to be happy with this and we will go ahead and cure it. I'm not sure if I showed the second coat of this one or not. So we'll find out. See, now I've got purple from there on the gray. Then I got to get that off now. Sometimes you get so focused on one color that you're working with that you don't see the other stuff right next to it. You're just looking at one certain thing. All right. I think, oh, nope, we're still cleaning. Still cleaning stuff out. All right, now, okay, I am going to show you the second coat of this one. So I missed a spot there, obviously, so that's going to get filled in, and then we're just going to go in with the second coat of purple. I was using a striper brush to do these instead of my detailer brush, and frankly, I think it worked a little bit better for me. I think I was able to hold a little bit smoother line as I was going around. And as long as we don't go over on the middle part, there should be no cleanup on this. Should be going right in for curing. And it has. Okay, now we're going to top coat. We're going to top coat all of them. And I'm doing a matte top on these. While you're watching this part, just as upcoming, I will be doing one more set of fall nails after these. And then after that, we'll be moving on to Christmas stuff for the most of the rest of this year. So that is what is coming up. Now that one where I didn't get the marble all the way to the top it's been bothering me ever since then. I'm really tempted to go back in at this point and fix it, but I probably won't. I don't have time to do extra stuff right now. I'm doing another side job at the moment, an assembly job of stuff, which is taking kind of a toll on my nails, but gotta have money, gotta eat. Okay, we're moving on now to the sweater portion. Now, there's also a bit of trial and error in this part. Now, I think at some point, I ended up wiping stuff off. Now, I don't remember if I left it in or not. I may have some of it, I may have edited out because there's some parts I wiped off several times for whatever reason. Now, see, I'm still using the striping brush. I should have, at this point, switched to the detailer brush. It would have been better. It would have given me, I think, a thinner line, and I could have gotten a little more polish at one time to come off of it, to make my polish layers thicker. But the first of these I did with the striping brush, and then later on I switched to the detailer one. But I wanted to attempt to make an ombre sweater nail. So when I got to the purple, after I did the blue lines, I got to the purple. I did not fully clean my brush out. I just dipped it in the purple so that I could kind of blend those two where they came together, and then carry on with just purple. Well, I may or may not be happy with that. I don't remember now. I know I wiped some stuff off. Let's see. Nope, apparently I didn't like that. I think it was too close to the side. Trying to get these lines to be where you want them. When you're looking down on top of it to paint it, it looks like it's in a totally different place than when you then like fold your fingers over and look at it straight on. It changes that little bit of change in perspective really makes a difference. I've noticed that when I'm putting crystals and stuff on, if I'm trying to get one right in the center of top or something, it takes a minute because when it looks like the top and then you look at it from a different angle, it isn't. You're off to the side of it. Anyway, I'm just trying to blend the ombre on the stripe a little bit now and going back in, trying to get a little more paint on them so I can get a little bit more of a raised area going, a raised stripe area. Now once we get these stripes on there and I'm happy with them, we're going to go ahead and cure them. I know what you're thinking. Wait, you didn't put the acrylic on. I always do a double layer and put the acrylic on the second coat because that makes them taller. It gives them a bit more depth. Now I will admit that this set is not my neatest set of sweater nails I've ever done. If I wasn't working on my own hands, I could have done a much neater job, but the awkwardness of trying to do it on your own self, sometimes it gets kind of really weird. It's like you just can't contort your hand in the position you need it to be in. Now I started off trying to do just whole different sweater pattern. I tried a couple of different ones and I just couldn't get them to come out looking the way I wanted them to. So then I went back to this old original cable kind of knit one that I've done before on sweater nails. I'm gonna have to figure out a new one for whenever I do some again. And I'm just putting these they're not really dots, they're kind of little slashes down. We're gonna do 4 of these down here, try to space them out. And that one's kind of angled down too far, so I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. We want them to kind of match up with the ones on the other side. Okay, and now we're going to switch over to purple. Or actually, we're going to try to get these to be a little bit thicker. That one I don't think went all the way to the top. Also, I'm missing a line on the top of there, right above where I'm painting right now. It should be there. I don't know if I put it on then or not. I know it's on there now. I might have just put it in off the second coat. Oh no, there it goes. And once again, we're just trying to get these to be a little bit thicker in height, not in width. And we're going to go over the little slashy marks. On that last one that starts to get down into the purpley area, I wanted to make sure that I had an extra bit of the blue there, so when I get to the purple, there's going to be enough polish on there that I can blend the two together a little bit. And now we're going to go in and start with the purple. Now this part's going to be a little hard to see. It doesn't read very well on camera, and it was kind of hard for me to see it while I was doing it. Because the purple, um, it's so dark and it was hard to see where I had already painted and where I hadn't. Because all I can go by is where it's shiny and where it's not. And the reason I cured my lines before I started this middle section is because I didn't want to have to do them over again if I screwed up this part, which I ended up doing several times and had to keep wiping it off. I didn't want to have to repaint those lines every time, so. If there's something I know that there's a big potential for me to mess up, then I'll do what I'll try to cure as I go along in steps. But if it's something I think I can handle in one, in one go, then I'll try it. And I'm trying to thicken those lines up again. And I'm going to kind of sort of just give those a couple of swipes where it's purple on there too. And let it try to blend those two together. And then we go on down the rest of the row with the purple. Also, you want to keep track of how many you've got going down one side because they need to match on the other side. And I think this is the one when I first did this other side of the purple and I messed up and had to wipe part of it off. Now you can kind of see where I painted the purple on there. See, my lines are a little bit too fat. This is where I had already, I should have switched to the detailer brush before this point, but I did not. It might have only been when I did my offhand that I was using the detailer brush because I was already having a hard time getting my stuff to, to paint using the wrong hand. Now I'm trying to determine how many of those in there. Now I'm going to do the blend on that one. Figure out. This is where I'm going to figure out, oh crap, there's one too many over here. It doesn't look right. So now we're going to wipe off those purple ones on that side. And then we're going to do them again. See, this is another reason that my nails end up taking so long for me to do. I believe this set took me about 4.5 hours to get it done entirely. And that does not count the nail fills and all the, that building of the nails and stuff that I did the day before this. So, and I know there's a lot of people out there can knock out this set probably easily in half the time, if not less. But when things keep going wrong and you have to keep doing stuff over again, that takes time. As you can also see that I'm balancing that finger against my thumb to hold it still. I'll try to keep everything still. Okay, now we are going to go over this whole thing again with the second layer. So this part will go faster because we're just covering the same stuff we already did. So there's no figuring anything out. I definitely should have had the detailer brush for this part. It's also important to try to cover the entire area that you already covered Because if you just are covering the tops of those and not the sides are not getting covered, then when you put your acrylic on, you're going to have some shiny spots. And that's what I ended up with on some of mine. So if you want to avoid that, you just have to take a little extra time, go slowly, but make sure everything's thoroughly covered. It helps when you can see where the stuff is, though. Even with the previous layer of this sweater part, um, is hasn't had any top coat on it, so it looks shiny still. So you can't really tell if it's wet or if you already painted over it the second time or not. Now I could have gone over this whole nail with top coat again, the matte, but I was afraid I would lose too much of the definition of all the stuff that's raised with the embossed part. And you don't have that texture that you get with the embossed stuff either if you go over it with top coat. So it's not exactly the same. And I didn't want to do that, so that's why you're going to see some shiny bits in there when I'm done. Okay, now we're going to use clear acrylic powder. Before we cure this now, we are just going to gently pour this over it and let it soak into all that polish that you just painted on there. Now I'm going to caution you guys again about holding your jar too close to your finger because it's really easy to bump it against there and then you smudge your design and there's nothing to do at that point but wipe it off and start again. So if you've really got some intricate thing going, you really don't want to have to do that. Okay, we're going to keep pouring it on until we don't see anything that looks wet anymore. Until you see a nice dull finish on all of it. I'll see some of those purple ones there. See how they're getting shiny again? They need to soak up some more of the powder. Once you get enough and you're happy with it, it can go into cure. And you're going to give this a double cure. So I'm curing it for 2 minutes. So you want to make sure it gets fully cured now that it's been bulked up with the acrylic powder. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, and there it goes. Now when it's done, you're going to brush it off, get that excess powder off of there. Now see, you can see there's some shiny bits where I didn't get my second polish coat fully over the first bit. Now there's one purple one on that side that I must have skipped entirely. So I will go back at some point and fix that one, but I'm not going to show that part on here. Just know that I did it. See, there's some stuff that's not quite as smooth as I would like, but that's what it is, and it's done. So we had an attempt at an ombre sweater. Now it kind of sort of worked, but I maybe need to work on that a little more. Okay, and when we're done admiring our work, we're going to move on. Okay, now we're going to do the sweater design on the French tip parts that we have. Now I'm only going to show you the one on the blue one because my battery was running low on my phone. So just know that you're going to do the same thing on the purple thumbs, except obviously with purple instead of blue. But we're just going to paint that same design on here, only it's just going to be like, the half of it instead of the whole thing. So try not to get up into past the smile line when you're painting these parts on. I know I did a tiny bit on some of mine, and I did not clean it, I don't think, before I cured it. See, this would have been much easier with the detailer brush, I think. And I know you can't really see that well what I'm doing, but trust me, it's there. And the same little slashy marks down the side. And the other side. Okay, I guess you're not going to see the other side. I must have been out of shot. Well, that had been cured now. And now we're going on with the second layer. Yeah, this is definitely not the set to be doing if you're having a shaky hand day. Where you could get by with that working well for you is for your marbles, though, actually. And we're going just to go over it, try to make them a bit taller. And now we're ready for the acrylic again. Now I'm not going to show you the thumbs. I think I said that earlier. You're just going to do the exact same thing, but with purple on your thumbs. Okay, we're carrying that. Now I've done all the other ones, and now I had decided that they looked kind of bare at the top, so I'm going to put the crystal cuff around there. Originally I was going to put like a crystal swoosh down the marble nail, but then I decided it really wasn't good. It wouldn't show up nice against the marble. Hey, I'm going to use these kind of light blue crystals on the blue, starting with the biggest one in the middle, and as we go out to the edges they get a little smaller. You're not going to see me do the thumbs, but you're going to do the exact same thing on the thumbs, but except change to the purple crystals. Now I use a smoky purple one for these. So as I told you, my battery was running low and I was trying to make sure I got everything important in before it ran out on me. Now I was trying to be extra careful also with the glue because I didn't want to have to uh, go around it with the top coat again and then have to worry about getting that in the sweater part. Okay, now I'm going to use silver caviar beads. We're going to just put a little tiny bits of glue. I was trying to be so careful. And then when we get that on, we're going to start getting the beads in there. You can just kind of get them in the vicinity of where you want them. And then before you cure, you just go along and kind of straighten everything out and tuck them in between better and get your curve the way you want it and all that jazz. And we'll put one at the end of the line. This has been sped up to double time, so this part does take some time and patience to get done. That one just did not want to get in there. And then we're going to tuck them all in nicely, make sure we're happy with it, and then we cure it. And now we got the finished set. If you like these and you would like to see more, then please give them a like and go ahead and subscribe. I upload new ones every Saturday. There's the thumbs that you guys didn't get to see very much of. And I hope you liked my video. I thank you very much for watching. It really means a great deal to me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.